Yes. But
Again,
so
glasses tipped off.
you're killing me with these glasses. Anyway, that's gonna be in all the outtakes. Just greetings, everybody. This is Joseph R. Wheeler III, the artist, the founder, and the president of the ONYXCON Foundation. Welcome to another episode of ONYXCON's Relationship Goals in the Art Life. And tonight I have the wonderful, beautiful, very intelligent, incredibly talented actress supreme, and so much more that she's going to tell you about what she is. This is THERESA Sullivan, my homie from the ATL.
Yes. From Decatur, where it's greater.
From Decatur, where it's greater, baby. That's what they say.
Yeah, because you know, it's not Atlanta. That's the whole thing.
Oh.
Let me not try to rep ATL when I'm from Decatur.
Oh, don't get it started. Don't get it started. Oh my gosh. What is going on? When we got children that wasn't even born, when we were defining what this is, and we did not separate nothing. We was like, yo, if you within or even slightly outside of 285, if you work in 285, if you know people in 285, if you have a life, if you make money, if you party in 285, you ATL. We understand the parameters of the geography of the city and all of that.
Yes.
And I went to APS school, so I understand when you say the districts and all that stuff. But as we can see that, you know, in living and getting older, I'm gonna hold it to you. I just want to say this real quick because I did a whole video about this. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see that video, no.
Go through our
I have to check it out.
Yes, I did a whole video about that because I was really fed up with it. I was like, y'all gotta grow up. I'm like, the bottom line is, what do you own? What do you own? Until you own some soil, I don't even want to hear it because anything can be redistricted.
Exactly.
And monetarily, anything can be redistricted. When you own something, I got some respect for what you got to say. Otherwise,
yeah, but no, old school from Decatur, we didn't claim Atlanta. Just truth, we didn't. ATL was over there, Decatur was over there. I mean, respect.
Right. But let me ask you this, since we're keeping it real. Back in the day, if somebody you met somebody, like say when you went to college and they asked you, where you from? Did you say Decatur or did you say Atlanta?
I said Decatur.
And
then if they didn't know, oh my, yes, honey, Decatur. That is where I'm from. That's it. Cause I tell people, I had a friend of mine years ago, cause I didn't go to, okay, so I'm about to date myself. We're around the same age.
Yes.
So you remember M2M? The M2M program, majority to minority, a whole busing, desegregation. So I went to Dunwoody High School.
Okay.
So, but I'm always, like, my blood is Decatur. So I had a friend of mine that coined me Deckwoody. and that's who I am. But yeah, if they didn't know where Decatur was, I would then tell them, oh, okay, it's right next door to Atlanta.
Wow.
So, but yeah, I did.
That's deep. That's really deep. Okay.
That's Decatur grown in a particular era. We are deep.
You know what's funny about that? I think about when I went to my first year of school, and we ain't gonna stay on this too long because this will be the whole damn interview. What were they supposed to be talking about relationships? They just talking about relationships of Atlanta. You know? So anyway, it's like, like Atlanta, when I went to Pratt in Brooklyn, my first year of college, everybody up there, like, you know, I couldn't get specific on exactly where, you know, my parents were, because I was on the south side. You know, I'm out there near, I'm in basically what is now city of South Fulton.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody gonna know them counties and what that was. I said,
exactly.
I'd be like, look, man, I'm from Atlanta, and that's all they need to know. And they would be, okay, word. And then they ignorant, backwards, northern concepts of what they thought the South was, and then I had to correct them on what it really is. And we go through all that. But what would be so funny is once I got back and once I saw how Brooklyn folk were about being from Brooklyn, just like how that's how Decatur is. Like if there is a Brooklyn,
that's exactly, I was just going to say, yes.
All of that, like the way they say we the planet, like we our own thing, that's how Decatur is. DeKalb County in general is just like, there's DeKalb County and then there's Fulton, you know, and everybody.
Yeah, we could do a whole little thing about that because we do have our own little vibe, even like Decatur proper and downtown Decatur. own little vibe that is very separate from Atlanta. And I love that about us. So, yeah.
Yeah, like
separate.
I said, it's like the Brooklyn of Atlanta for New Yorkers to try to understand.
I agree. That's exactly. I agree.
Because it can have nice areas. Like people think all of it's rough, like Brooklyn is all rough. People think all of Decatur is rough when you say Decatur, but it's not. It's like you got some gorgeous areas. You got some really
it's so diverse.
Yeah.
So diverse.
That's real. Okay. So thank you.
Now that we've schooled them on the geographics of Metro Atlanta.
Exactly, right? Like, really though, seriously, Teresa, how long has it been? I mean, I know the pandemic done thrown us all off, but like, I think the last time I saw you, we did the commercial for ONYXCON. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, that's been years.
Wow, if it's been that long, it's been a long time.
Wait a minute.
Was it the Black Panther?
I was just about to say Black Panther. We went to see Black Panther one.
I think that was the last time.
That was it. Okay, word. There was like at least 5 or 6 premieres I went to. I just kept going to see it. So for sure.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Nice. Wow, that's still crazy though.
It's still a long time. Yeah.
Anyway, so
sorry, I should have warned you, but I didn't even think about it. And then probably I'm so duplicitous that if I would have thought about it, I probably still wouldn't have warned you because this is classic. The reaction is classic.
Yeah, you like to do that to us. Yeah. I think it was the same way when you flipped to the curly hair, because when I first met you, it was at the premiere for. Let me explain to everybody. So the way I first met this lady is being another actor. I'm an actor. I'm a writer. I'm a producer in Atlanta, and she's been in the biz way longer than me as an actress. And a good friend, a mutual friend of both of ours, Mr. Lamont Gant, who does Creative Genius Films, had a premiere for his like classic science fiction film named The Return, and Return, excuse me. And so Theresa played a detective character in the movie, and I did at one of his premieres for it. I did the opening announcement of Lamont, and all the cast and crew and everybody who was a part, family, friends, everybody were there. It was a really great time. And after the movie, of course, I'm meeting everybody, and I got a chance to tell her, how amazing her performance was. And we just struck up an instant friendship of, just talking about the biz and understanding the ins and outs of all of that. So, we hung out a few times and got to know each other and stayed in touch. And then when I needed her many years later, or a couple of years later, I think, for some ONYXCON promotion, we did a famous commercial for ONYXCON called This Is the Day, where I was the husband, she was the wife, and we were supposed to be like the perfect little family. And with 2 kids, it was a son and a daughter. And that was my boys. One of my boys, his son and daughter played them. And we all had superpowers. We all had like different powers that you would find in sci-fi, fantasy, horror films, things like that. So it was a real fun little cute commercial. A lot of people really love that thing to this day because Lamont put a lot of effort into it, a lot of great special effects, and the rest is history. So that's how.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Are those kids like graduated from college or something now?
Look, I'm scared to see my friends because she was the oldest, and I know she was tall then.
Yeah,
I haven't seen.
They were great. They were fantastic.
Yeah, they really were. To not even be kids that are like pursuing acting, they were just in it, But yeah, I haven't seen them. I haven't seen them in a while. I've seen him. We hung out. Me and some of my boys. We hung out in Christmas. But people show pictures at the table. That's different. You just say, "Oh my gosh, I'm not ready." Like you just looking at them.
Exactly.
Already grown. Like it's just crazy. Crazy. Let me explain a little bit why I even went into this. The pandemic created a lot of different things. Of course, it gave us all a chance to take a minute, have to sit down, have to analyze life and where you're going and what you want to do. I made the decision that for ONYXCON, I always wanted it to be more than just a Comic-Con. And the Comic-Con culture was just my intro to creating a massive of people who could get with the whole lifestyle and idea of because ONYXCON, I always say now, is a lifestyle. And I'm promoting it that way. I'm promoting various facets of it to try to get people to, understand. Some folk already got it as soon as I started making the changes. They were just like, I see you, Joseph. I see what you're doing. Word, I'm with you, man. I'm riding. Even if they're not into it. Like, I did the outdoor element of it where we have ONYXCON outdoors. We have an ONYXCON fishing tournament. And some people like fishing, like what, some people forget, like this is our culture. This should not be new to us. It was taken from us. You know what I'm saying? And all other indigenous groups of peoples all over the world. This was ours first. Like the first fishing hook was made in ancient Kemet, Egypt. You know what I mean? And like people just don't know this history. So anyway, I grew up in all of that. And luckily being from the South, it's a great part of our culture. So even if you didn't do it, you had an uncle, a mama, auntie, somebody know about some fishing. So
absolutely,
it was my savings grace because I was already, this is what I love to do, but I didn't have as much time to do it because, you know, we more hustle bustle. And the pandemic make everybody calm the hell down and have to get away from people. So the best way I could do it was going to the woods and fishing. And then I got with the other part, I said ONYXCON fitness, because what was the main thing everybody was saying during the pandemic? Make sure you keep your health up. Make sure you do something physically active. So I'm like, yo, I'm about to, this was always part of ONYXCON. We always had dance performers. We always had people dealing with some parts of nutrition. We always had that at the actual con. But I said, I'm going to like literally multiply this and take it to the max. So when I say fitness, I'm talking about what the word really means. I'm talking about your mind, body, and soul. So on the mental element, I'm stressing the importance of our relationships, and I'm starting with our intimate relationships, because I feel that as artists, if we don't protect that energy, we're less creative, or we're more creative when it's healthy in our life. So
I agree.
Yeah, so that's the point of this, because a lot of people ask me, so what is the ultimate point of what you do? That is it. It don't get, I mean, it'll get into many semantics, but that's the core, you know. Yep. So
awesome. I think it's awesome. And, you know, as I've perused through your content, I think it's fabulous. You know, I've always been a fan of yours and ONYXCON in general. And when I saw you expanding, I was just like, wow, this is really cool. So this was just kind of inevitable. It was just a natural progression of what you were doing. So when you invited me, I was like, I'm in. Of course I'm in. Talking about how to relate to artists and relationships, please.
Yeah.
I could discuss that all day.
Okay. And the other part was like, so to start with that first topic, I said, yo, when I reached out to a lot of ladies for this, because I've been trying to balance that out, because it's always, I mean, and it's no pun to the ladies, I understand it more and more. It's like, it's easier to get dudes to just go live or whatever. Like, I mean, I'll be honest, like I wanted to shave before I did this. I wanted to shave the hair because I rock the baldy these days, but I did not have time, but I wasn't gonna be late. I was like, sure, I'll be cute enough. I'm gonna get on camera and do my job. But I understand for ladies, y'all like, wait a minute, you want me what? You want me on what? On camera? Hold on, wait a minute. It's just like everything got to stop. All kind of things got to be, you know, checked out. You got to make sure you check off certain lists, depending on, you know, how you feel comfortable in front of the camera. But for you to say you was with it, and I literally have had at least about 4 or 5 other ladies say they were with it, I was like, ooh, something's right in the stars right now. We got to go now. So,
yes. Well, and it's appearance, but then it's also life, right? Because we're in a space and time where hopefully we're coming out of the pandemic, so people are starting to get a little bit more active socially. And if you're talking about in the artistic world, then hopefully they're doing more work. So really too, it's about, you know, having the actual time set aside to be able to do. So yeah, for me, it's not even so much about being camera ready, because it's just, again, making sure I'm not in my pajamas and a bonnet, because you know how, you know, the public loves to roast the Black woman in the bonnet. So I wasn't going to do that. But other than that, yeah, it's a gamut of the juggle that we all do, and particularly a lot of women, because, you know, a lot of us have work and children and husbands and all types of other responsibilities. So
I'm glad you broke that down as all those possible variables. Let's give people, you know, your let's treat this like a dating app profile real quick. Okay, so THERESA Sullivan, she is from Decatur. She is single or not single?
She is single.
She is single. Have you ever been married?
No.
Any children?
No.
Okay, what's your sign, zodiac?
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius in the house.
And I said it like a Sagittarius. Look at that, right?
Sassy Sagittarius.
Sassy Sag.
Yes. I know a little bit about that. Now. You know, I'm the Virgo over here, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know, I love to proudly say it. So
Yeah, you and I have had discussion about that. And my high school sweetheart and college sweetheart, same person, was a Virgo. So that was interesting.
I forgot that. Wow, that's deep. So, so have since the pandemic starting there, when you talk about, you know, doing your work, like, first of all, I mean, the only art I recognize you mainly for is being an actress, but are there any other arts you like to claim publicly? What else do you like to, you know?
So on all levels, I consider myself an advanced amateur.
If y'all saw her work, you'd be like, amateur my ass, this woman is classic.
I am. I haven't done anything in a while as far as the acting. There is a return to coming around the bend, and Lamont and I are in conversation about that because I haven't done acting since return. Okay. But Lamont is such an inspiring and soulful director that he might be the person that gets me back in front of the camera again. We'll see. I don't know. But acting is it's one of the things that I do, but honestly, I think one of the things that that came naturally to me at a young age that I didn't really grow into until I got older, or I haven't really tried to do anything with it publicly. I've always just kind of kept it personally for the most part, is I write poetry.
Oh, okay.
So people that have heard me write or heard my poetry or spoken word, I've actually been, you know, paid to write for weddings and stuff like that. But other than that, I haven't published anything yet. But I have a collection of poems that I am thinking about publishing. But it's so personal and so intimate for me that I don't know if I want to display my feelings like that.
So your poetry is about relationships or about?
It is.
Oh, okay.
It is.
Well, I'm going to champion that. I'm going to advocate for that. I'm going to say go for that, because for you to even want to mention it in that question, I mean, you could have just simply said, well, you said publicly, Joseph, and really, that's really it. Just my actress identity. That's it. You know what I'm saying? But the fact you even mentioned it says you got it in you to want to do it. You just might be concerned about how it's received. But the thing about that is, as artists, sometimes we just got to be like, whether y'all understand it or not, I put it out for my legacy. You know what I'm saying? Because you're aware of your purpose. I always say the whole point of life is to first find your purpose and fulfill your destiny and leave a legacy. That's it. So whether they get it now or later, it's okay. You, as long as you're all right financially, whatever else, to live a good life, enjoy your life, leave these gems behind, and people gonna pick it up later and be like, yo, oh snap, like, you know, all of that. Just make sure it's in your will that the right people take advantage of it instead of, oh, we got all that stuff.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So we'll see. And it's, you know, I don't think it's about being received, because as a Sagittarius, you know, we can be quite outspoken. So I don't really care what people think most of the time.
Right.
But we can be very particular about who we're vulnerable with. So releasing poetry for me would be being vulnerable with the world in a completely different space. As an actress, I'm using someone else's words. I'm another person, but in my poetry, that is me. So that's kind of the definitive difference between the two. And that's really where I take a pause to see, oh, well, do I want to share this?
Yeah.
Some of it is like, you know, do I want to share the world, my love letters to either myself or this person, or my hate letters to this, you know, whatever the case may be.
Right. All those various emotions. Well, see, now you know you tempting everybody. Like,
now you're like, we need to have a private conversation later.
Right. Yeah, that too. But you done messed it up, because now the folks see this, they're gonna be in the comments like, girl, shoot, I want to read it now. Let me see that. What is that? You done hyped it up now. You done put the show enough juice on it, talking about love and hate letters. So okay. So in terms of, aside from that with the acting, I know what made you stop the acting part? Let's just get that out the way real quick, and then we'll get into a little bit of relationship stuff.
Um, for me, it was a combination of things. I think I was always timing wise a little bit ahead of the curve. So when I started acting here in Atlanta, it was back when the only thing you could get here really were like stage plays. There was no
maybe, or do you? What year, if you don't mind? What year? What time?
Like late 90s, early 2000s.
Oh wow!
So there was not even like a Tyler Perry.
No, I know.
Regarding stage play, yeah, no. So it was really, really early, and so I made the move to California to try to pursue the career on a bigger level for a few years.
You did LA?
And I did LA. I did, and while I was out there, that grind is very difficult because you have to survive at LA costs. Then also network and try to get artist work. So I was able to get, some plays, some independent films, and okay, so here's an interesting story. And again, it just speaks to timing.
Sure.
While I was in LA, Robert Townsend, along with Marlon Jackson, and I think Evander Holyfield at the time, and they had another investor. It was a group of like 5 or 6 investors were getting together, and they were starting a multicultural network. So kind of like a ABC Family back in the day, but multiculturally. And they went across the country doing open auditions for actors, writers, just talent to build up the base for this network. They came to LA, and I heard about it. So I was like, okay. About 1,000 people auditioned that day, and I was one of 24 people that got picked. So I had a chance to audition for Robert Townsend. He told me during the audition, he was like, I'm very impressed by your acting ability, that kind of thing. And they were actually supposed to open the studio, guess where?
Where?
In South DeKalb County.
Yo!
Here in Georgia.
Right, straight up.
So, long story short, the project fell through, I think at that time, due to they couldn't get zoning and all of this kind of stuff. So it was just it just kept kind of pushing in a direction where I got the messaging, you might have the talent, but just the opportunities aren't there. And then a personal thing happened in my life where my mom got sick. And so I ended up moving back here to Atlanta, primarily to be here and help take care of her. And then the acting thing just kind of went on the back burner from there. And so I got a regular job, took care of my mom. After she passed away, it took a couple years. And this is how I got introduced to Lamont. We have a mutual friend, one of my best girlfriends. She was talking to Lamont one day because he was like, hey, I got this short film and I'm trying to find someone to play this role, blah, blah. And it was No Time for Love. And so he called me and we talked because I knew Lamont, but he knew I wrote poetry, but he didn't know. He had forgotten that I had acted because at that point it had been so long.
That is one of his projects because people we know, but I don't want my audience like what's No Time for Love? Another one of Lamont Gant's projects.
Yes,
Films.com. Check them out.
Exactly. So he called me and he's like, hey, I have this role. I'm gonna shoot the script over to you. Read it if you want it. It's yours.
Dang.
Okay. So it's a small role, but that short, it broke like national records because it was picked up back at, again, dating myself. Remember when they used to have the short film blocks on, what was it, like CBS or NBC? It showed several times and the ratings went through the roof, and then they started showing it all across the world. So at that point, Lamont thought, okay, this THERESA might be on to something. So then he asked me about Return. And I did that. So he's the reason that I'm even still acting because I haven't done anything else. And the auditioning process is just, it's a lot to try to do that and, maintain lifestyle at this point. So that was just kind of my trajectory out of the pursuit of it, really.
Wow. Well, that really reflects, just to bring in the Sagittarius energy. I know y'all are spontaneous, and I love that about y'all because I have a part of me that can be that way, but not all the time. Like when I've hung out with Sagittarius, y'all tend to have me doing stuff I would never damn do. Like, wait a minute, hold up. We doing what? Because Virgo's want to be like, wait a minute, is it safe? Like once it's safe, we do anything. You're like, oh, I ain't gonna die? All right, cool. It's like whatever. But y'all ain't gonna ask as many questions. Y'all gonna ask a few and then y'all just dive, So I think that's impressive to say, you had multiple situations where it was literally just chance and word of mouth and really great opportunity to be in the right place at the right time. I mean, Robert Townsend, I've been on set with Robert Townsend. I've worked with the man twice on Black Lightning and on, American Soul. So I know how phenomenal he is and I know how precise he is as a director. He's just, there's no surprise. He's as amazing and wonderful and important as he is always going to be to film in general, but especially the Black folk in the film biz and what we know of his work and how we appreciate him. So that's going to still happen. What you described, we're like, okay, he wasn't ready for the zoning then, but we know the way they building stuff in Atlanta now, I bet you that's still going to happen.
Oh, so, it's coming. It's coming. Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, that's dope. So as far as in relationships through all of that, have you here come the poetry. We're gonna get some poetry on. She gonna give up one of the hate letters. Let me give you one. Okay, I can give you one, all right.
I'm sorry, that was a gut reaction.
Yeah, I saw it all in your face. It was like, oh yeah.
Edit that out.
It's okay. That's gonna be the best part. It's gonna be, you do the clip at the beginning of the video. It's gonna be at the very damn beginning. So what has been the challenges through all the kind of that was a great setup for going through all of that, being that talented, having people like Robert Townsend, tell you got it, and then other things happening which had nothing to do with your talent, I always say artists have to protect our energy because like everybody does, but we are 10 times as sensitive as everybody else think they are, because we are to do what we do, and especially in an expressionist world of acting, it's a safe space environment to even do it. You're transforming yourself. You got to relate to the character enough to become someone else momentarily. Every time they say action, flip in, flip out, flip in, flip out. Or if you're one of those method actors trying to stay in it all day, which, can be weird as hell. But, whatever your method, it's like, it's a lot. So I think, for you, how has that been with relationships have you found, I always ask this question. I always say, have you ever dated outside of other artists, like people who didn't consider themselves artists? And if you have, were they better for you in comparison to times you may have dated people who were artists?
That's a really good question.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And as I flip through my Rolex, no, I'm just kidding.
Rolex. Don't make me pull it out. I got one. Let me show you. I kept one just for historic purposes so that young folks understand what we're talking about. This is a Rolodex, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a Rolodex. That's awesome. But you need the old school one that actually circles and does that.
Oh yeah, I ain't got that. Somebody just gave me this and I kept it because I was like, this is gonna be an important reference one day. Yeah. Now I can't get it to close. I'm about to break it. Anyway, go ahead.
So, most of my relationships have been non-artists, actually. And that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because
welcome to therapy.
Right? Because I don't, as I reflect, well, I think it's pluses and minuses for both. Right. Because for me, for example, I appreciate the adjective or the label, so you speak, of artist, right. Even if I'm not, actively living off my craft, because like you said many times before, it's really kind of fundamentally who you are, how you interpret the world and express emotions and all of that. So that if I never do a film again or write another poem, I still consider myself an artist. That being said, I don't think I drank the Kool-Aid, because I do have a bit of a technical side to me. I'm a technical trainer. That's my day job. Okay. So I know a little bit about software and things of that nature. So there is that other side of the brain that I tap into. And I think that is what has attracted me to men. And I date men. I'm a cis female, that hetero that dates men, to clarify that. And I think that's what has attracted me to men who are not artists, because we do kind of have that analytical side of us in common. And I like that. I like the titillation of that. But at the same time, if it is a person that's too analytical, kind of like a Capricorn, sometimes they can be too analytical and don't necessarily know how to tap into their emotions or express them. That's where I have a problem. And so that's where it has run into a problem, because most men that I've dated, whether they're an artist by trade or just by, this is what I love to do in my downtime, because I do have, I have dated in the past men that are a lot like me, where by trade, they have a very technical job, but then they play in a band, every week or kind of thing, or play the guitar or whatever. So they have that duplicity to themselves. Yep. And I love that, because again, we can have some of those intimate, emotional conversations. Yep. That emotional intelligence is important to me just as much as the analytical intelligence is.
Love it. Yeah. No, that's it. I think that's the balance. And I always think that if you date somebody who doesn't, because the person who does what you just said, like they're technical, but they play in a band, they may not say, you say, are you an artist? Oh, no, I'm not an artist, but I just like playing in my band. You're still an artist, but you just don't see it as art. Like maybe you're not pursuing it as a career, but it's an art. That's your art, and you might have other artists, but you're just not claiming it to make a living or claiming it to even get so, to use the analytical word again, analytical about it, to take even the art to another level. Maybe you know enough to play the guitar basic, but you're not Jimi Hendrix. So that's it's respectable. I get it, but you know what I'm saying? But I think it's just important for people like that to always acknowledge it, because society, unfortunately, this society tends to separate the right brain, left brain. There's another part of our concept here. It's talking about that, and the fact that it's forced to make people feel like everything you do creatively is just a hobby, and none of it should be taken seriously. And we see it in the arts, where certain arts, in entertainment arts, they're obviously at the highest for getting paid. So if you choose any of those, you got better chance of survival if you could do it, which I feel blessed that I always had an appreciation for it and knew I could do it, just didn't know it was going to ever come to my town and give me an opportunity to do it. And then, if you're a visual artist, which is really my core, where I started, you're at the base, like you're just treated like, we just waiting on you to die so we can exploit all your stuff. Exactly.
I was just about to say, we're just waiting for him to die and then he'll be working.
Yeah, all of that garbage. And it's not to say that there aren't people doing, plenty of commercial illustration, commercial graphic design, everything like that, and getting paid for their drawing and painting and everything like that skills. But even they will tell you, a lot of times, friends I know who that's all they do, they always crave being that fine artist, the museum artist, the gallery artist that just really gives you what they really thinking, versus I have to be so careful and I can't do this and I can't do that because the client is not going to appreciate that and it's going to mess up their brand. And no, they want to cut loose a lot of times. Like usually that's how we all start. So anyway, I think even in relationships a lot of times, if you're that real hardcore artist, you need somebody who understands that side of you. Even if they don't fully understand, they respect it. Like they'll get out the way. Like, I'll let you do it, baby. It's cool. Just as long as you don't lose your mind. Like they even help you with that. Like they there to help you stay grounded. You was mentioning Capricorn. I laughed because I was thinking it sounds like that must have been one of the ones that had, you had some issues with. But go ahead.
It's not just one.
Yeah, I know.
For me, it's been and the issue is, and the funny thing is I've dated one, I've been best friends with one, I had an older brother that was one, and experiencing the one in relationship and watching the others flow through relationship, I'm just like, did they just hand y'all the same book at birth? And only Capricorn males got it?
I'm glad you said males. because for me,
oh, it's very different for females. Yeah.
I've had no issues with the Capricorn ladies I know. Shout out to all the Capricorn ladies. But
the men, and remember, I didn't say that they were less emotional.
Right.
Because they can be quite emotional. It's the ability or the desire to express them, even with people that are close to them. It's that vulnerability that somehow they are either, I don't know, afraid of, or just don't want to be bothered. I don't know what it is. I know I've had several conversations with my older brother before he passed away. And you know, it was a little bit of a fear for him, and it was based upon, you know, at a younger age in dating, he was a little less committed, and so once, you know, commitment and things of that nature started to get on the table, now it's am I deserving of this, or will I receive, you know, back the kind of love that I want to give out now versus what I was giving kind of haphazardly when I was younger and not as serious about, you know, committed relationships in the past.
Wow. Yeah. That's that. Yeah. And that can be, so in your experience with that, how did you, I don't know, reconcile with that or not reconcile with that, or just get fed up enough to be like, look, this is a relationship. I need you to tell me what's really going on. Can't be hiding stuff. And then, you know, of course, you know, having to explain, look, I'm an artist too, so I don't want to have to juggle you and this. I want to feel peace. Everybody wants peace when they get home. If you know, whatever home is, even if y'all not in the same home, y'all see each other all the time, whatever.
Yeah. I reconciled it by ending the romantic relationship part of it, but because I still could tap into the fact this person was a kind person. We still were, you know, very compatible in a lot of areas. So we're still really good friends. We've actually been friends now for about a decade. So we're actually still really good friends. Yeah.
So now that leads me to another thing I'm always saying, and I think this is more, I don't know that this is absolutely true or more true with artists, but I find that when I talk to other people who are openly creatives or artists claiming the title, we tend to understand how important, for various reasons, to try to end with a friend, no matter who you're dealing with. Like you said, the romantic part ended, but y'all were able to keep a platonic friendship. And truly, I mean, for it to be that long, I know it must be a true platonic friendship. It ain't no, we tinker every now and then. No, it's like, no, that's just my boy. We cool, you know? And that's so hard for most people to do. They talk about they can't walk it. And like, how is that? I guess my question is that something you seek all the time in dating? Because to me, I think that's the purpose of dating. You're supposed to be learning something about yourself and teaching someone else something about themselves. Y'all learning each other through each other.
Yeah.
You know? And it's going to enrich who you are to the point where when you finally decide, if you ever finally decide to want to settle and be with only one for the rest of life, to be that friend and that romance that's all you need, they gotta really add up to a lot of experiences that you've been, which is to me good. It's like you've graduated through, if you've been picking the right people, quality folk, even if you didn't pick the right ones every now and then, because that's how you're gonna learn that too. Then you're gonna know exactly what you won't tolerate, what you will, and you're gonna really narrow it down to, look, this is what it is. Where we're in a society now, I find like most of these younger folk, and even people our age sometimes that didn't ever get it right or don't take the time to analyze these things, they accept all kind of trash and they keep wondering why they get the same results. It's like, you gotta get, or they throw people, I guess they throw out the baby with the bathwater. Don't throw away your friend if you still got a good friend. Like, and you don't have to, and they don't, and people, most people don't understand that because, like I said, are you still messing with each other? They think, oh, if I keep my friend, we still gonna be screwing around. No, like you really need to just have a friend. Because if you really, this is, like, I am an advocate of what the phrase really means when people say friends with benefits. You know, but I mean literally what it's saying, not, oh yeah, you know, no, really, no play, slang words. We saying really, I have a friend and we have benefits. And benefits does not just mean the sexual relationship. So therefore, if that ever ends, like what you described, you still got a real friend that you can call on. And if you got somebody who's of substance in society, somebody who you said like a lot of these guys would be analytical. Okay, you're an artist, but let's say that person's a lawyer. You need a lawyer. If he ain't your lawyer in court, he got other lawyer friends. You ain't got to worry about somebody gonna be somebody there for you and not just trying to get your money, because they gotta not mess up their friendship with him. You gonna get a good
exactly. Lawyer. This one was an engineer, so when I need stuff built like that, I'm not doing that. I need an engineer's mind to do stuff like this. So it's stuff like that. But yeah, I mean. And to be perfectly real about it, I agree with you. I do think that when you're in relationships with people, no matter who they are, but particularly in, intimate relationships and dating, the goal hopefully is to enrich yourself, to grow, to learn about yourself through other people and your interaction with that other person, and vice versa for the other person that you're in it with. Yeah. But I don't necessarily think that everybody has to continue along in life's journey with you. Right. There's some times where, because there's a phrase, toxic relationships, that kind of thing. Those things exist for a reason. So some people you can't keep taking along with you. The best example, like even though that guy, we're friends for 10 years or whatever, my high school, college sweetheart is really the best example, because I have to say I have been an emotional person for a very long time. Like I said, I've been writing poetry since I was a kid. So he and I had a connection at a very young age. We've actually known each other since we were 9. And we started dating in high school at around 16. So in my mind, as we dated all these years through high school, through college, I always used to say, this is my soulmate. But in my mind, I had a very narrow definition of what soulmate was. I thought, this is the person I'll marry, have 1,000 kids with, and we'll just die together.
1,000.
Kind of thing. Yeah. Hyperbole. Right. So, but when, we started to grow and see that romantic relationship wasn't where we were going to land, we did go through that kind of did back and forth for a while, because after we grew up together essentially. Right. But the biggest break was when I moved to California, because now there's 3,000 miles of distance and life. Let
me ask you this: were you in your 20s or something like that at that time? Was it 20s?
Late 20s.
Gotcha.
So when I was in Cali, I was late 20s, early 30s.
No, it makes sense. What you described, I was like, this sounds like some 20 stuff. So I just wanted to.
Yeah. So, but during that time, we finally got to a point, I think, where we realized, romantically, we don't work. But when you love someone like that for so long, for so hard, because artists typically we love hard, and a Sag woman loves hard. Because the relationship ends doesn't mean the love disappears. So that's also one of the reasons why you kind of anticipate or expect, or at least try to salvage some sort of friendship or whatever the relationship is going to be. So we made that kind of vow to each other. Actually, I promised his mom, because I was ready to let it go because he had gotten on my nerves. But I'm glad I didn't, because now it's been, a lot of years, a lot of decades, and he is my soulmate. Like, he is one of the people on this earth, other than my family, blood family, that knows the core of me and loves me in spite of that. And I, again, like you said, if I needed anything and vice versa, we could call each other for that, including relationship advice.
Sure.
And so we're at a point now where if we date anyone, that person that we date pretty early on, if it becomes kind of, actually before it gets too serious, we tell them, okay, here's this person, here's our history. Please don't get it twisted. We are not dipping our feet in that pool, because I don't even know how in the past, different person. But this is a person that's not going anywhere. So I'd love for you to get to know them, because if you're going to be a part of my life, he's a part of it. And he tells the women that he dates, I'm a part of it. And it's always worked out for the most part. Because again, once people see, they see our energy is like best friend. So it's nothing sexual or physical or anything like that anymore. But yeah, it's because we focus, because for artists, it's all about the connection.
Yeah.
So humanly, we try to put a stamp on what that is, right? And we try to maneuver through that as best we can, but we don't always get it right on the first interpretation. And I think that's what happened to us. We tried to do the boyfriend-girlfriend thing in that connection, and that was the wrong thing. Our connection is real and it's strong, but it was meant to be friends.
Yeah, I feel you. Wow. So do you think, man, that gives me so many topics. That gives me so many topics. So like, do you think that if you ever were to find somebody, like, okay, you said you think he's one of your soul, well, you said he's your soulmate. Personally, I don't think there's one. I think
he's one of them. Yeah.
You agree with me there. You agree that there could be many. I truly think in a life with this many people on the earth, there cannot be one. I think to even say one is setting yourself up for mental disaster. If anything ever challenges that, it's gonna mess your head up because you done put your everything into that. And
I agree, because even I tell Lamont all the time, and he'll tell you, I call Lamont my creative soulmate.
I feel that for somebody you know you can work with every time, and it's gonna work. Yep. I feel that. And so like, and that's how you do the kind of work that, you know, all these folk that I know I admire, like your Spike Lee, or, you know, I don't necessarily like all of the concepts of the movies, but I admire his business savvy with what Tyler Perry did, and I admire the amount of talent, you know, on every level that he's been able to work with. Because when you pull together Janet Jackson and Idris Elba, and I mean, good gosh, these people, whoa, you know, Felicia Rashad, I mean, what? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Late great Cicely Tyson, I'm just, whoo. You know, you can get all them in the room and they all know you, and they in the Rolodex, you know, they in your, you know, speed dial. That's insane, but that speaks to being able to genuinely have a respect amongst people, because they don't have to pick up the phone every time you call just because you got the money if they don't like working with you. So it's always gonna go back to that. So yeah, I feel you on that. That's totally, and that's exactly the kind of company and product and everything I want to continue to build, because I know with the people I work with most, that's how we have a relationship. Like, I know sometimes it's monetary and I understand that, but when I do get that bag, I already know I'm gonna shut stuff down. He'll be like, everybody's over there with that Joseph guy. I'm like, yeah. we coming. I tried to tell y'all playing with me. But so do you think that also, if you were to find another one of the ones, but it'd be, you know, because here's the other reality, you know, like you said, we about the same age, and you know, that clock is ticking. The clock is different for ladies. So like, do you even, with the one they always talk about for ladies with children and stuff, like, is that even important to you to have?
No.
Okay, so that helps a lot. That you don't. You said it real quick too. It wasn't.
I did.
It wasn't no. I don't. Well, you know. No. It was. Nope. Hell no. I'm good.
And not that I have anything against, you know, mothering or having children, but just being the single one and the youngest of four, I've helped raise a lot of nieces and nephews. So at this stage in the game, you know, and I always wanted a full partner in raising a child. So I used to tell people all the time when they would say, when I would meet guys and they would be like, "You don't have any kids?" Like they would look at me like I was an alien, really. And, you know, they would be like, "Oh, I got 5." And then I would ask, "How many children's mothers?" 4. Right. And I'm just like, okay, and you don't want me to look at you like an alien, but okay. But yeah, I used to tell people my mother didn't raise a baby mama. No offense to, because I have so much respect for single parents that I've watched that challenge, and it's a heroic one that I don't have the courage or I think the ability to do. I tilt my those that do it.
Yeah, that's powerful. And now I'm an uncle, so I relate to this a little bit more, you know. And so like, yeah, like really and truly, I think, so my question was going to be, so let's say you did find somebody that you feel like is enough of another one that you would, you know, they put the ring on it, right? And that friend that you said that everybody got to, you know, kind of come by, of course they're going to meet that person, whether they get along or not. I would assume if the love is strong enough for this person, you still going to marry him or whatever. But would you be the type that, what's that movie? Oh my gosh, I just watched it. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not trying to, when I do forget the name, I'm not saying you would live the plot of the movie. I'm just talking about that kind of energy. But Brown Sugar with Tay Diggs and
yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, okay. So
Annihilate Them.
Yeah, so now and you know how they were basically in love. They were meant to be the whole time, and they both went. You know, first it was him. He got married. Then she messed around trying to get married, and the whole time everybody around them knows what are they doing? Why don't they let these other people out of their life out the way so that they can be together because they know who they really want? So it doesn't sound like that situation, not by any means, because you said all of the romantic feelings are gone. Y'all, that was the clarity you needed to realize that this friend, we're just platonic friends. We always were. We messed it up trying to be something else, but we didn't totally mess it up because we're enough friends to still repair it and be friends forever. So, but do you think that it would affect? Are y'all so close that y'all, you know, would it be like, oh, you know, seasonal get-togethers versus, dang, she on the phone with dude again? I swear, you know, it's like it would be like, do you think, you know?
I think that kind of stuff, in my personal opinion, I think it comes with maturity too, right? Because I think that's some of the communication skills that if you don't have them honed enough, then that's some of the stuff that leads people into thinking that men and women can't be friends. I've got way too many guy friends for that to not be true. I mean, he's an example of somebody that I dated in the past, but I've got male friends that I went to college with. We never had a romantic relationship with. Most of them are married, and the ones that are married, they know me. Like, and it's down to if they're having a surprise birthday party or something for their husband, they'll call me and like, Teresa, we had to call you because if you know what I mean.
So the wives are cool too, is my point.
Yeah, so it's all in respect, because I think that you have to, you know, you let the people know who these people are, but at the same time, you also, like, that person that is your person needs to be unequivocally aware that they are your person. When you do that, then they're typically, unless you're dealing with someone with an ego problem or that just can't handle, you know, the male-female relationship, then, you know, it's no issue. So I had a situation before where I did date someone in California, and I expressed to him, you know, I have male friends and I'm so excited for you to meet them. And so before he would meet them, I would tell him about him, and he would hear me talk on the phone to him periodically, because I'm not on the phone with my guy friends every day. I'm not on the phone with anybody every day except my sister and my brother. And my brother, not every day, but almost every day. Right. But at first he couldn't understand it, but he was younger than me, so I could understand that. But once I brought him to Atlanta, and I said, okay, there's this person, that person, this person, and he met them, and they went off into the kitchen and had their own like they were having their own friendship and their own bond.
Then you could get them apart. It's like, where we all going? Oh, we about to go hang out. We'll be back.
Seriously, they were making plans for the next time he was coming to Atlanta. And I said, really? Do I get a say in this? Right. Apparently not. That was going to be the boys' time.
Oh my God. Wow. Well, that's the way it's supposed to be. That's cool energy. That's good. I think a little bit of that too is just, it always attests to, like you said, it's maturity first, but it can also be natural energy. And that's why I'm so big on zodiac stuff. And I always tell people who say, I don't believe in that. You don't have to believe in it. It just is. Like,
it just is.
It just is. Like, and I'm not saying that, you know, because people who really are into it, like I understand, you have a whole chart and it represents all the planets in our solar system. So you can have other stuff in your chart, which is why you'll meet somebody and be like, they didn't act like a Virgo, they act like a Cancer, because they got a lot of Cancer in their chart. So they may act a certain way, like all the other things, but I promise you, when it's like when people say, when you get to them hardest decisions, what did they do? However, whatever they do in them hardest decisions is going to reflect what they were born. I guarantee it. It's always going to be the way of a Virgo, or the way of whatever you are is going to be that final decision. It just is. Mm-hmm. So anyway,
so since you study it, because you study a little bit more than me, who is a Sagittarius female most compatible with?
You know, to be honest with you, I would have to dig in one of my favorite books to give you that answer. I'll send you that. I'll send you that.
Okay.
But what's funny about that is it doesn't necessarily, the beauty of real astrology, because like, you know, it's like anything else. It starts with the basics and it gets more advanced. It's how far you want to go. Because when you get into all them other rising and setting sign and you know what I mean? And like I said, a sign for each one of your planets and all that. Like I've never had a formal reading, but I've done one of those little, you know, I've done at least 2 or 3 of the free ones that be online. And most of them line up, even though they're different companies. Like they both say the same. Okay, all right, I see you. You know, and then you know you have to know exactly the time you were born, you know, and all of that type of stuff. You can't be like, I don't remember. My mama said I was born in one state, but my daddy said no. You got to know those things if you really want to get specific. And once you do, it's phenomenally on point, because it'll tell you stuff that you'll start realizing how it's not that you can't deal with just about anybody. It's just you got to know the limits with anybody. I always say in any of my friendships, I learned one of the biggest mature things I learned about any type of friendship, like, you know, just talking about my homeboys, like, you know, you call so-and-so for this, he ain't gonna never be on time because that's not his thing. He always gonna not do that. But if you call him for that other thing you know he loved, he the first one there. So it's like, once you figure out people's passions, and this goes for anybody.
I agree.
It's gonna win, you know? Yeah. And it's like even on take it to the level of chemistry on sets, like we was talking about the film stuff. When I meet somebody and I'm casting, oh my gosh, I mean, like once I'm satisfied, first I let the universe just do what it does and bring people to me. Then I go and look and see, like I shot something back in November that was a short that I finally got out of my head. Biggity, what is it?
Biggity, yeah.
Yes. So you did watch it.
Yes.
Thank you. And when I tell you, some of the folk who I cast were like literally days before we went to set, like it was just that tight. But I checked the chemistry later. I said, you know, it was the last thing I said, let me look at one of my books, my favorite book. I said, oh, this is gonna be good. I said, word, everybody gonna be all right. Like, you know, because none of the things that would be an issue between people had anything to do with work. Because the great thing about this book is it'll be like intimate relationship, friendship, family, work. So it's like, as long as they working together, I ain't worried about these other things.
Exactly. And
it flowed. I swear it flowed so well. Like I said, being an actress and, you know, being a lady who could play a lot of different roles that, you know, in this business, people pick you. They always say, I mean, one of my best first teachers said, theater is the core of the art.
Yeah.
I've never done theater, so I always respect
it. Oh, I love theater.
I know you, I can tell you're a theater actress. And so I claim film wholeheartedly. I'll get to theater if it's meant to be. It's not my, I just respect it. I look at that like I may have a black, headed towards a black belt, but y'all like the triple black belts and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to be in the class to get my belt. You know what I mean? Like I'm good over here in film. I like being able to say, oh, let's cut. Oh, snap. What was the line again? I love that. I don't like, I done forgot everything.
See, and that's kind of the thing, right? That's the love of theater. That's the love of the arts. For me, it's the interaction that you get, because yeah, you can have a director say cut and then give you feedback and tell you, okay, you didn't hit this line right, or can you give me this, and blah, 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 blah. But there's nothing like the genuine, because the director's expecting something, right? But the audience has no expectation.
Yeah.
So there's nothing like that genuine audience feedback from your performance, from your interpretation of that character in that moment, especially when it comes, you know, from 20, 30, or 1,000 people, however big your audience is. There's nothing like that. There's a gratification that is, I don't know, maybe it's a little self-serving, but
no, that's what it is.
It just feels interactive, and that's what I love about theater.
That's awesome. So I was gonna say,
have you ever tried to audition for theater, or you're just like, no?
I had an on-the-spot audition for a theater one time. It was kind of funny. Like I literally was just in the right place at the right time, and I was actually getting ready for ONYXCON, and where we do it, our main venue, Southwest Arts Center. A friend of mine, ironically, was on the panel of the judges for the, who's gonna get in, and it was like 3 of them or something. And somebody told me, yeah, they're auditioning now for so-and-so's theater, and I was like, oh, really? And somebody came out and said, you should do it. I was like, I'm preparing for ONYXCON. Like my head is totally not, like I'm there to set up tables and stuff in the hall because they just there that day and I'm there that weekend. And they're like, no, you ought to do it. And I said, well, what the hell? So I went in. When I went there, I felt a little safer because I saw my one friend on the thing. Like, okay. I don't feel so crazy. I know she know me and ain't gonna judge me too hard. And I literally just did a August Wilson. Yeah, of course that's the legend, you know what I'm saying, when you come to theater for Black folk. But I did that, and my first teacher, my first ever monologue that I learned was from Gem of the Ocean, Caesar Wilkes. And so I did that. And they were just, they were just quiet after. I said, like, is it one of them quiet, you don't know if they like it or not? And I remember she was just kind of grinning at me like, that shit was good. And the other was just kind of like, who is this dude? Okay, thank you. And they did the stoic thank you, like, we're not gonna react or anything, but thank you, Mr. Wheeler, for coming in. And I didn't get any feedback or anything from it, but I always know with auditions that if you get any reaction, they don't forget you. They still gonna be like, we heard you, Because one of them did ask me like, do you sing? And I said, I can hold a note, I said, but I don't claim being a singer. Like I was like before we did this interview, I had heard some daggone Guy and Jodeci, and I was singing loud, blowing the whistle. And can't nobody tell me I ain't sound just like Aaron Hall, But come on now. But I ain't. But you know what I'm saying. But no, I mean that was funny. They asked me that because I guess it was something required for the play, and that's probably why they didn't call me back. Because I think if I had said yes, I may have gotten a part. They would have been like, you know what I mean? If you can do that. Shoot, he sing too, because I know, but then they would have put me on the spot. Okay, sing. Oh, damn,
No, I'm not prepared.
Right. So what I was gonna say was, as soon as somebody thinks you're attractive, they're like, okay, we want to pair you with this person, have some relationship roles and stuff. They're gonna still get you in the run, which is a total compliment. I still got it. They want to put me with somebody, all that. I know you would be comfortable as an actress. You understand the craft and all that. Do you think you could deal with a man who maybe, or have you ever dealt with a man who wasn't comfortable with it when you got to kiss, make out, have a love scene, whatever, and so you already know. So, and how deep was it? Like, did you have to have a full out love scene with nudity involved, partial nudity, none at all, but then it was just deep kissing or something like that? How far did it go and how did that affect the relationship? Because I think about it all the time. I haven't went there yet.
Yeah, I haven't had any, personally, I haven't had any intimate scenes, but I have been in films or, because I'm an actress and I've dated people that aren't in the industry, that's one of the first questions you get. I don't know if you have the same experience. If you date outside of the industry, it's one of the first questions you get from women. Oh, what if you have to have a sex scene? And so I don't know if that's a man question.
No, it's a universal question. Like,
so that's why I asked if you get it too. I think it's just a curiosity. But the men that I have dated who asked that question, I don't know. That would be a cross to bear for sure, because they were just the thought of it. They were just, because they're descriptive about other women in other scenes, and they're like, oh, I don't know how I feel if they could see your breast, and I'm just like, okay, I could see how this would be a real special conversation to have if I got a role and it required me to do that. Right. But I don't. But I've had other guys that I've dated, but again, they were fellow artists, not even necessarily actors.
Right.
So this was a musician. I don't think they would have had a problem. So I do think that when it comes to that part of it, it does make a significant difference.
Let's flip it around. Let's flip it around just for
kicks and giggles.
Right, exactly. And I'm already giggling. So what if, because nowadays, I remember when I was young, you know, and I thought about this, you know, never even knowing I was going to ever be an actor. It crossed my mind, like, how do they deal with that? Like, you know, so-and-so married to such and such, and man, it's like your wife. They always, you know, everybody want to see her because she's so beautiful, so they always trying to put her in some role like that. And I mean, you know, I'm sure that, you know, as we know in the biz, you do any type of nudity, the check go up because you got to pay people to show the goods. So it's like, come on with the money. And it ain't never enough for that, really, but it's, you know, that's what they do. But nowadays, you know, some shows, like I had a featured role on P-Valley, so I watched the whole first season. And I remember one of the characters on the show, you know, one of the guys, like, they pretty much showed his joint in one scene. And I was like, I'm in total shock watching this, like, wait a minute now. Hold up now. Wait a minute. Did I really?
Now, was it shocking because it was male frontal nudity or that it was just frontal nudity?
It was, I'm being honest. It was shocking. Yeah. It was, as a male, it was shocking because I didn't think they were going to go with it. I knew they were going to go there with the women because it's about a female strip club, right? And I knew that there were, you know, if you watch the show, you know, you got a transvestite character, so I kind of knew that was going to be something there too. But I did not think that they would do with the straight male character. I just didn't think it was coming. I honestly did not. And when it did, all I could do was laugh because, and I will say for the scene I'm thinking of, for people who watch the show, you'll understand, I don't give it away exactly in plot, but it fit the scene. It's like, it didn't have to, it was one of them decisions visually, like you don't have to show that, but for conveying a quote unquote feeling of how it is to be in that moment. I assume you've watched the season.
I have seen it, yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, somebody, I'm almost about to give away the scene if I say that, but somebody on the phone, they doing their little moment with each other on the phone. It's like, yeah, that probably is how it would actually be. But, and if you're a fly on the wall as the camera, this is what you would see.
This is what you would see,
So I've always been an advocate of it. So I'm not even gonna say I was totally like, oh, this is ridiculous. It wasn't like that. I'm just saying as a heterosexual man, I didn't want to see all that, but that was like, you know what I'm saying?
Heterosexual female, I'm like, about time.
Exactly. Y'all like, go! But see, that's where we're at. And that's why I sometimes think, man, what a time to be a man in this biz, because I always know that they gonna come, somebody gonna put some of these things in front of me and I'm gonna have to tell them straight up whether I will or won't. I mean, I'm very staunch on, I have no intentions of bending on orientation. I just personally have a thing about that. I feel like there's enough men who deserve those roles, who live that life, to do all those alternative realities than go pull on the coattails of a straight man, even if as an artist he feels like he just wants to prove he can do anything. I like being in a certain range, and it's a big range of stuff I can do, you know, different types of characters without that being anything I want to touch. You know?
Right.
And I, like I said, I really respect that. I got associates in the biz, that's their life. I'm like, go call homie, like let him do it. That's his role, that ain't for me, you know? But with the nudity thing, like when you say like, do the ladies ask, the first thing they ask, you know, y'all tend to be, it depends on, you know, if a lady is like really no filter, so what you show them, what you show, you know, but most folk, they just gonna say, would you do nudity and what would you be comfortable showing? They just kind of tiptoe like that. But what always makes me laugh is I know they really want to ask, would you do a full out sex scene? Like you gotta simulate the actions, you gotta act like you in.
That's what the men want to know.
Right. Well, that's what the women want to know too. And I'm saying, you don't always ask it outright. And I'm saying if someone were to do that in a relationship that you want to keep, or you know, if you've already been there, and how did that work?
Yeah, like I said, I haven't had that experience personally, but for me, even a role like that, it would have to make sense for me and my character. I certainly have had scenarios where either a role was changed or I turned down something for different reasons, where I just either it didn't make sense to me with the character, or I just thought, okay, are we doing this just to be salacious? And I'm not interested in that. I'm always about the authenticity of the story and the character. Yeah. So if it flows in that manner, then it makes sense to me. A prime example of the difference, Shonda Rhimes, Shondaland has Bridgerton out, and there's a season 1 and a season 2, and they're very different. And the first one, when it came out, there were some, you know, there were quite a few provocative scenes in the first season. So I feel like there were a lot of people who were anticipating the same in season 2. But with season 2, it was more about the love and the soul connection. So there weren't as many. And to me, I'm so grateful that she is a person in the industry that no matter what, she stays true to the story.
Yeah.
And so that was one of those decisions and those calls that I can appreciate as an artist, knowing, you know, working with her, that would be the case. So yeah, first of all, like I said, a role like that, I don't know if I'd even come across it. And then if I did, yeah, we would just have to have a conversation, and I'd have to see what would it take for him to feel comfortable with it. Whether it would have a conversation with the director to see if he could be on set, whether it would have a conversation with the other actor. I don't know. Whatever. I would
added a whole nother question to be on set. Wow.
I mean, because there are some that do that in order to make their partners comfortable. Because I'm gonna tell you, let's be real.
Right.
Yes, we are all acting, but stuff goes down.
Come on. I was going to ask that question.
Hello? It does. People, just like at work, at any other, it's a job. Yeah. So just like at work or any other job, people have connections and chemistry.
Right,
so whether there's a sex scene or not, that kind of stuff can happen. So it's all about making your partner comfortable.
Yeah, and that's a fine line. Like, that's the part that I always think about, because you hear young and old actors describe how no matter what, I don't care how confident they really think they are, if they're really professional, if they're not just somebody who, I got in this business just so I can do a lot of sex scenes and shit. No.
Yeah.
Not that idiot. Well, go do porn, man. You know what I'm saying? There is a business for that too. You know what I mean? There's a business. But but
in the Valley in Cali.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Hey, and nowadays ain't no shame about that. Focus, I mean, they've literally lifted the whole veil off that. There's no longer, I mean, we ain't gonna go too far into that. I'm just saying it's no longer looked at like it used to. It's like people like, yes, I am an adult entertainment industry professional. It's like, well, you know. But
so glasses tipped off.
You're killing me with these glasses. Anyway. That's gonna be in all the outtakes. Just give me one real quick. This got to come natural. Never mind. Okay, because I am using that. I promise you. Anyway, so when I think about, like, you know, I've been on sets where that, for instance, there was a club scene that I did one time where, up until a certain point, I think they were so busy. When I say they, I'm talking about the crew was so big. Crew and directors was getting so into how the lighting and everything was, and it was supposed to be like, this dude is gonna basically, if you remember Usher's song, "Make love in this club, in this club." Yeah. They basically lead to these characters get to the point where this dude with his groupies start getting it on in their little section.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know how far they really went, because I think when I saw the scene, it didn't go nowhere. Those be the ones that kind of bother me too, because I was thinking, okay, they edited it. They made us leave the room to have a closed set, because we were just extras in the back of the club. And I'm thinking, okay, we left the room for this. Then they edited it out. I don't even remember it being in the episode. I was thinking, so did y'all just get your kicks off of seeing? You know, it's like, that's still.
You have to wonder sometimes.
It happens.
Listen, there are some creepy.
It happens. I got buddies
behind the camera.
I got buddies who literally in desperate. I don't know if desperate. I can't speak for why they did it. I'll just say, I'm thinking of one person when I say this, and knowing of others who participated. I'm not even gonna name what the movie was, but I'm just gonna say it was a lot of extras there, and they had a special scene where they invited selected folk who were willing to do partial or full nudity back for this scene. There was gonna be this wild orgy part, and it's a comedy movie. It's crazy, real over the top, and they messed around and. He said they only paid him, for example, $500. I said, well, what did you have to take off? He said, oh, I was out there. Like, he was just that kind of dude who didn't care. He probably did too many Daytonas and Freaknik at its worst. You know, he was that kind of dude. He just didn't care, right? So he's like, He's like, yeah, man, I was just out there, it wasn't no stuff I couldn't get with. They put me with women, so there's women all around me. It was fun, we just made it real. I was like, oh my God. I said, bro, you was like complete. He said, yeah, everything. I said, okay, but they didn't. I said, how much? He's like, $500. 500? 500?
Maybe it's all relative. Maybe it wasn't a big deal for him.
Oh my God. I was like, I was so like, dude, they got you, man. They got you. Because they didn't even use it in the movie. Like there was like a version of the movie or something. And all they did was have more cussing, maybe, a lady with boobs out on some scene or something like that. But it was not like what he described. All that is somewhere in a vault with some doggone executive directors sitting there going,
waiting for him to become mayor or something, and then
I swear. So that stuff there. So that'd be the part where, and I don't want anybody to see this and say that I'm pretend that I'm saying there aren't professional people who don't respect the code of nudity, and because there are other folks who totally are super serious. I've had other friends tell me how they did a scene where it was just a kiss, and they sitting down with her and her lawyer and her agent, and the other person got their lawyer and their agent, and they're telling you exactly how much contact and for how long it should last and how many takes are expected, and, and a proof of STI and STD history so that you So like all of that stuff is, and that's how it's got to be. That's how it's got to be. That's how it should be. But yeah, so that part, I would say, with all of that in mind, and if it was those kind of parameters, I still say what you wouldn't crack me up saying, if your person was in it and was insecure about it because they come to set with you, I wouldn't even want, if I was married and my wife wanted to come to set and watch me, no, not depending
on. They're gonna watch the movie, which is more uncomfortable, sitting on your sofa, watching it with them, or with all of these cameras and key grips and there's nothing romantic about that.
There's nothing romantic, right? But even though there's nothing romantic, let's be real about this. Like we both said, we've never done scenes like this. But I have done scenes where it was just background work and they sprung a kiss on us in the middle of the day. Asked us if it was like a New Year's for a scene. And you kiss somebody at 12. And like, will you give them a quick peck on the lips? And this is before COVID now.
Right.
Somebody that worked with on a few other things. We knew each other well. Now she cool as hell or whatever. I'm cool to her. She's like, I said, you good? You good? Yeah, all right, well, yeah, we'll do it. But no extra money either.
Right.
Just the cheesiness, right?
Right.
So, did that or whatever. But I'm saying to this other level, like I'll never forget, who was it? I think it was Lala and Joseph, I forget his last name. I always remember his first name, Joseph, but that plays Tommy on talking about their scenes and stuff with their sex scenes on that, and how, they said, we're really the best of friends, which sounds good because you gotta have that kind of energy. But I totally picked up on what I call like you said, people will have chemistry. They got chemistry. And if you got chemistry, it's like, if we weren't in relationships, if we weren't just working, this could possibly happen in real life. But then also, even if it wouldn't happen in real life, the attraction level is enough there to make it real, and that is important if you want to make the audience feel it. Because everybody knows, you be sitting there, this is whack, man. They don't even like each other. Everybody hates that when you can tell. So so I was just saying too, she's like they teased her in one of the interviews, like, did he get excited? She's like, of course. You basically dry rubbing, humping somebody dry.
Right, he's human.
So that, if I think about that and then being married or in a long-term relationship, only if I had a mate who is literally the kind of woman who would be like silly enough to, and I have dated people like this that I always thought, they had other things that didn't make them worthy of wifedom. But that part of them used to just crack me up. Like, I could literally see them being like in my trailer, like, all right, baby, you go in there and get her good so we can we can pay off this house note. Be like, damn.
Yeah, I haven't dated that guy.
Yeah, but I almost.
But I think that would be like, yeah, go get him. Yeah, no. Give me instruction, no.
Right.
They'll be like, at what minute do I need to walk out of it?
I truly think it takes, I'm not saying that's the only way it works. I think it's either that or the complete opposite of that. The one who's just like, I know this is your job. go do it well, and I don't even need to see it when it comes out. Like,
right,
you know, the one
right.
who's sitting in the interview would be like, I never watch his movies.
Yeah. Which will work for me because I hate watching myself. So
hey, see, I'm the opposite about that. I've never understood that. I love watching myself. I can't stand it. I think that's because you did it the way I did drawing first. It's always been your first thing. You were doing it for a long time versus I got into it later. And I got into it first from a fandom of the whole thought of even doing it. So then when I decided I'm gonna do it, I'm serious about it. But the fan in me wants to even see myself and be like, I'll laugh at myself and be like, I love it when I can tell I'm a little off, but also when I'm so on that I amaze myself. I'll be like, well, I was in that, look at that right there, you know? So I enjoy it, you know?
Well, now I'm always like, all right, I'm in the moment. Whatever happens, happens. Can't necessarily go back, especially if it's already been that's a wrap.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not watching it again. Because even now there are people that I've reconnected with that I hadn't, spoken to, let's say, in however many years, and they'll find out that I did a film, and then they'll be like, hey, can we get together and watch it? No.
So tell me
where you watch it, and we can talk about it later.
So when you went to see the premiere of Return, you telling me every time you came on the screen, you did this in the theater, you didn't want to look at it?
I watched it that first time.
Okay.
But then even, I think, because did he have another premiere? Because I think he had maybe two. I don't know.
He showed it at ONYXCON, that's for sure. And then he did one at the theater in Midtown. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so no, I'm not. Oh, that's what it was. He showed the actors a private screening before, so I had seen it before it was in the theater. So by the time it got into the theater, I was just like, "Oh, do you need popcorn? I'll go get it." Or what? Like anything to not watch, or I'm watching other people's reaction to it. Like I don't even care to know what's going on that screen.
Well, there it is, homie. I could keep going, but honestly, I think we've covered quite enough for me to make a hell of an interview out of this, and I really appreciate your time. We will do it again too, because this is fun. I can see we can talk about. I can get some new topics and we can get into it. It's gonna be good.
Thanks for inviting me. This was awesome. Again,
absolutely.
To be called an artist outside of in my head or in my heart always makes me smile.
Well, you are a true artist, but believe that. Thank you, THERESA Sullivan, for joining us on ONYXCON, Relationship Goals in the Art Life.
Thank you, Joseph.
Yeah.